I'm Stuart McIntosh with the BBC News. Hello. President Zelensky has paid an unannounced visit to the southern front line where Ukrainian soldiers are holding out against Russian shelling. Ian McWilliam reports.
The Ukrainian president is mostly in Kiev, but he's made a rare visit to the south of the country, to the cities of Mykolaiv and Odessa, which Moscow has been attacking in its bid to take control of the Black Sea coast. In his first wartime visit to Mykolaiv, the president met soldiers and officials and saw damaged buildings. The city lies close to the Russian-occupied region around Kherson, and its fierce defence has blocked a Russian advance towards Odessa. President Zelensky then travelled on to Odessa itself, the last major port still under Ukraine's control. Loss of this maritime city would further strangle the Ukrainian economy in the long term.
The Secretary-General of NATO has said the war in Ukraine could last for years, but that the West must be prepared to continue supporting Kiev against Moscow. Jens Stoltenberg told a German newspaper that otherwise President Putin would simply carry on as he did in previous wars against Georgia and Crimea. An official in the US city of Miami says dozens of guns have been handed in as part of a buyback scheme that will see the weapons donated to Ukraine. Gun owners are being offered between $50 and $250, depending on gun type. The Electricity Supply Corporation of Malawi has issued an apology after power was cut to the entirety of the country. The company said it was working to restore electricity following a system shutdown on Saturday evening. Ben Lowings reports.
Malawians are some of the poorest people on the planet, and the World Bank estimates that less than 15% of them have access to electricity. For those able to draw on Malawi's power grid, that connection has become increasingly unreliable, with massive outages in recent months. In January, the country was left without power for 3 full days after Tropical Storm Anna swept through southern Africa and damaged the main Malawian power station.
A study commissioned by football's world governing body says more than half of all players at the finals of 2 major international competitions suffered social media abuse. Greg Mackenzie reports.
They are 2 of the biggest tournaments in the football calendar, but both were marred by abuse aimed at players. FIFA says it's used artificial intelligence to track more than 400,000 posts on social media platforms during the semi-final and final stages of the Euro Championship and the African Cup of Nations. It found the majority of abuse to be homophobic or racist. The England trio Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho and Bukayo Saka were abused after failing to score in the penalty shootout which decided the Euro 2020 final.
World News from the BBC. At least 40 people are now known to have died in lightning strikes and landslides triggered by severe monsoon storms in Bangladesh and India. Millions have been left stranded by rising waters over the past few days, with emergency workers struggling to reach those affected. Almost half of those who've died in Bangladesh were killed by lightning. Planes have been grounded and trains suspended. Brazilian police have arrested a 3rd suspect in the murder of a British journalist and an indigenous expert in the Amazon. Police confirmed on Saturday that a body found with gunshot wounds to the head was that of the respected Brazilian indigenous expert Bruno Pereira. The Guardian journalist Dom Phillips had already been identified. They were killed in the Javari Valley, a remote area where illegal mining, fishing and logging are common. Speaking at a protest against the killings, one of the victims' friends, Marco Mitideri, said greater protections were needed.
We cannot work in fear. The fear of being in the field and feeling abandoned. And being persecuted while in the office too. Enough of that. The whole public service is being threatened, discarded and sold cheap.
Thousands of people have taken part in a rally in Skopje, the capital of North Macedonia, to demand early parliamentary elections and protest against the rising cost of living. The government says it's not the moment to hold elections, as the country is facing big economic and energy challenges. The US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has authorized COVID-19 vaccines for children as young as 6 months. In a statement, President Biden said parents would be able to start scheduling appointments with healthcare providers from this coming week. He added that the vaccines were safe, highly effective, and would give parents the peace of mind of knowing their child was protected from the worst outcome of the virus. BBC News.